Welcome to another Let's Talk Jonesboro. Today we have Aaron Vowell, and he is an ArDOT resident engineer overseeing a lot of work that's going to be taking place in Jonesboro for the coming year and a half at least, and maybe more. Welcome, Aaron.
Thank you very much. Good to be here today. Appreciate it.
Hey, man. So tell us about what we've got going on right now on I-555, because people don't know what's hitting them right now, probably.
Sure, absolutely. You know, we've got some major reconstruction to be done on I-555. Basically about a 4.5 mile stretch from the Nettleton Overpass to all the way to Southwest Drive Overpass. You know, the contractor, the job was awarded to Cost Construction out of Missouri, and they're planning to get started here pretty soon. So there's going to be a pretty big impact to the traffic out there over the next few weeks and several months, actually. You know, the first thing that's got to take place is we've got to do a lot of temporary steps to get traffic to where they can get shifted over to one side of the interstate head to head while we're trying to reconstruct the other side of the interstate. And so part of that is to reconstruct the current shoulder that we have out there. So, you know, that's the first thing that we're going to see in that southbound lane. Traffic is going to have to be shifted over to the inside lane, the one that's closest to the median, and we're going to have to build up that shoulder.
That's because it's going to have to carry traffic now.
Traffic eventually will have to be shifted on to that old shoulder, and again, we've got to kind of build that up to be able to hold traffic up over there.
So this is what you guys do, though. I mean, this, like all around the state and elsewhere, you guys are doing this. This process is playing out time and again. You've got it down.
Yes.
Our drivers may not have it down, so that's what they need to know to slow down. You're going to be moving right now, and then you're going to be moving left, and then you're going to be moving across the whole thing. It's going to be play out slowly over the course of possibly 18 months or so.
That's right. You know, for the first couple weeks here, it really will only affect the southbound lanes. Traffic will have a right lane closure. They'll have to shift over closer to the median in that inside lane. And then, you know, once that shoulder is built up to be able to hold traffic, traffic will be put back into that outside lane while work begins on the median temporary ramps and stuff. So again, for the first couple months, a lot of this work is shifting traffic in temporary lane closures to be able to build the temporary median ramps that has to be in place before we can actually start the actual permanent work of the reconstruction of one side of the interstate.
Perfect. And you're doing 4 miles, but I don't know if it's a law or just a general practice. You guys only move in 2 mile stretches at a time, right?
Correct. You know, we have it written in the contract right now that the contractor can only close down about 2 miles of roadway, basically have a lane closure for 2 miles. So we're not closing down anything, but having a lane closure for 2 miles.
Now, is that for driver sanity and?
It is to some extent. You know, one of the things, you know, that we worry about, that we have to plan for is, you know, backups, queues, and so the less lane closure links that you have out there, the more opportunity for traffic to get back into their normal routine with both lanes open at the normal speed limit. But I would like to make one comment too. You know, with these lane closures comes a reduced speed. So, you know, I think currently out there at 65 mile an hour, that will be reduced to, I believe, 55 miles per hour.
So as you move in 2 mile increments, does that mean there will only be 2 sections, or will it be 2 plus? Will it be 2 plus sections?
They will handle it in one section at a time. So, you know, that shoulder work that they've got to do to build up, you know, at the most there'll be a 2 mile lane closure for that work. They'll get that work complete, and then that whole lane closure will shift on down the road. But at any one time, there will not be more than 2 miles of a lane closure, a 2-mile lane closure.
And you've got some bridge work to do too. And Aaron, the bridges on all the way down going toward Memphis, they're so much better, man. I got to give you some dap on that.
Oh, appreciate that.
They're beautiful right now. They're
That
great to
work,
drive.
that work that took place on through Mark Tree there, through the floodways and stuff,
Right.
that's called a latex modified overlay. That's what 4 of our bridges on this interstate will also receive. So we have to come in and we hydro demo about 1.5 inches of the existing concrete, and then we put a special type of concrete back in that 1.5 inch milled out piece there. So makes it, preserves the deck, makes it last a whole lot longer, and gives it a whole lot better ride.
That's wonderful, because those bridges needed it, and now our bridges need it in Jonesboro, and you guys are going to make it a joyful ride here pretty soon.
We're excited about it. I drive it a lot too, and I understand
You
the
get it,
problems through there.
And your
So-
office is in Jonesboro.
Yes, it is. It is. It's right off MLK. People are welcome to come in, and if they have any questions or concerns, they're more than welcome to come and talk to me about it.
Well,
Absolutely.
they may, because you have a lot of projects going on in Jonesboro. This is what we called a couple years ago a STIP grant, and it's State Transportation Improvement Plan. And it's funded, thankfully, by you guys, and then it's also done. The work is done by ArDOT. And we're seeing that on the overpasses right now. But tell us about the new ones you've got coming.
We've got several coming up, and actually planned in this STIP year, this 2020 year. Things happen. Sometimes those dates get adjusted and stuff. But we've got a project for Southwest Drive and Highland Main Street intersection. Right now, if you're driving north on Southwest Drive, if you want to come on to Main Street, you only have 1 lane
Right.
to move forward with, and so that'll change. You'll eventually have 2 lanes, and so making some adjustments in our widths and adding some additional lanes, and also upgrading the traffic lights in those intersections. But so that's a big project. It's of course going to have a big impact on traffic during that time, and right there by the Jonesboro School. So again, I do ask everyone to use caution and be patient once we get these projects started. And so
That's going to require like moving a sidewalk or 2 over there, isn't it?
there will be some new sidewalks, some new islands, new curb and gutter. There will be some new drainage work that will be done. So we'll have to widen out, so that means there will be a little bit of a drop off as what we call notch and widening through a project and stuff. So a lot of those radiuses will be widened through there. It'll be done in stages, so we'll maybe have the southeast corner done, the corner that McDonald's sits at. We'll do that work first, and then maybe jump to another corner and stuff. So everything has to be done in stages. But again, it'll be, especially for your bigger truck traffic and stuff, at times, making those turns and stuff will be difficult. So I think you've already seen some of our traffic signs up that says, trucks use alternate routes. You'll probably see some more of those up before it's all said and done with some of these other projects that's going on.
Is there a best alternative route? I mean, does anybody need to be worried other than truck drivers about alternative routes?
There's always an impact to traffic. So, the best thing that I can ask that, people kind of take a little more time in the morning, try to move out a little quicker than you typically do to give you more time in case there is a delay or a backup or something. No specific alternate route. I think for the most part, traffic will figure out their ways around it. But for that particular intersection that we're talking about, not a specific route other than, if you want to use MLK. But again, we'll be doing work out on the interstate. So it's, we're really going to have traffic impacts to the city of Jonesboro over the next couple years here. So.
Right. And another one is the major arterial for us is Highland and Caraway.
Sure.
When does that start?
Another big project that's going to start even sooner than the Southwest and Highland job. This project has already been awarded to a contractor, Asphalt Producers. We've had a pre-construction meeting on that job, and right now the start date is somewhere around May, or early May, late April, possibly. And again, that job, you know, similar to what we're doing at Southwest, we're doing a lot of widening in those radiuses. We're adding basically a left turn lane to each direction. So instead of just having one turn, left turn at that signal, you know, each lane of traffic will have 2 left turns. So we're doing that to make that intersection more functionable for traffic. You know, upgrading the traffic signals. One thing to note about that project is, you know, we're going to be using temporary traffic signals through the majority of the project. And so, you know, your signals that are out there right now, we'll have temporary ones. So poles up, wires that stretch across, and those temporary signals that are attached to those wires and stuff. But that has to be done in order to get in and remove the existing islands that are out there where the existing poles are and stuff, and to upgrade all that work through there. So a lot of interesting stuff is going to be taking place at that intersection as well.
Very good. And we've been dealing with a while, seeing a lot of progress on overpasses down Nettleton Drive. And I think you've got some updates on those.
Sure. Our big project, the BNSF Railroad Overpass project, I think folks have probably been seeing the walls going up over on Watt Street, the bridge over there. Our contractor started installing beams here about 2 or so weeks ago. So that job right now is currently estimated to be complete by February of 2022. Right now they're on schedule for that. That project's about 30% complete.
Wow.
They are been a lot of work on Kane Street now, Nettleton. All of this work is kind of geared toward eventually shifting that traffic onto Watt Street and closing down 18 at the railroad track so that new bridge can be built and stuff. So this work so far, again, is just to kind of get us in a situation where we can shift that traffic onto the new Watt Street Bridge and begin that other work. And that's, you know, right now is looking at about August of this year. We could potentially have traffic on the new Watt Street Bridge, and hopefully start that work on the 18 Overpass Bridge, the main one there.
Right.
So things have been moving really good with that.
That's great. That is great. That's going to transform the city. And you've driven in the city for a long time. Tell us, like, what the impact, what do you feel like the impact will be? What will people physically notice once this is all done?
You know, the first and foremost thing that I can think about, just at Nettleton and Highway 18, Highland Drive there, is the trains. You know, you can sometimes sit there for 15, 20 minutes, sometimes longer, just to try to get across the tracks. And you know, when those trains have both Watt Street and 18 closed, it makes it real difficult to try to get around. And so, you know, with these new overpasses, even the one at Watt Street, I could see folks kind of using that more. But when both of them are open, you know, we're not going to have that worry anymore. We'll be able to bypass that. And so, you know, the architectural design that we're using for these retaining walls, we're going to have lights up through both of these bridges and stuff. So it's going to look really nice when it's all said and done as well. So it's going to have obviously a huge impact as far as getting to your destination quicker, not being blocked by a train, but it's going to look really good too. So
that's wonderful. What do drivers need to generally understand about, you know, from between now and the middle of 2021?
Probably more than anything, just I hope patience is a common thing that people think about as we try to get to the point of completion with these projects and stuff. You know, again, all of these are designed to help move traffic through quicker, help the functionality of these intersections go quicker. You know, each one has a specific purpose, and just using caution as we're driving through, you know, looking out for these construction workers that are out there trying to get this put together, you know, paying attention to signs, message boards that we have out. Just if they can do that, you know, that will help out tremendously. You know, staying off your cell phones during this time. Unfortunately, you know, from time to time we still see that. We hear that from contractors and stuff, and so we just need their patience, and we need their attention during this time as we get to the completion of these projects and stuff.
Okay. Is there anything else that ArDOT has planned or in the Jonesboro area anytime soon?
Absolutely. There's several other projects that we have in this current STIP. You know, we've got a project on basically 351, are doing some widening on it, and that hilltop, you know, where the come and go is, that traffic signal. So doing some upgrades to that traffic signal and the work. You know, widening that roadway all the way to, I believe it's Pleasant View Drive, and I think, you know, possibly putting in a traffic signal there at Pleasant View. You know, some additional work would be the Southwest Drive, Parker Road project, another intersection job that is in need of some improvements there. Basically widening Parker Road all the way to Craighead Forest Road great. There. So, you know, that project will be a very important project to help that whole intersection, and, you know, again, adding some additional turn lanes in to make it more functionable for that left-hand right. Traffic turn. And, of course, we have a project, it's not slated for this particular STIP year, I don't believe, but the Union Pacific Overpass on Airport Road, another project to, you know, that we have issues from time to time with trains causing us delays in that section. So we do have an overpass plan for that particular area right there by the airport. We've got the Harrisburg Road widening project. You know, roughly about 0.4 miles of Harrisburg Road to be widened from Parker Road, from that intersection there. You know, and also, again, upgrading those traffic signals and making that intersection more functionable too. And, you know, we have other projects, some pavement preservation jobs, you know, either this year or next year coming up. On Johnson, maybe doing what we call an ultra-thin bonded wearing course, which is just a thin layer of asphalt with a special type of oil to kind of preserve the existing pavement, you know, as far as cracks and stuff that are in it. So, again, several pavement preservation jobs that we've got coming up in different places. One in particular is also, I think, in this current letting, and so will be kicked off sometime, you know, early summer or so, is a project on Highway 49. You know, there's been a couple of asphalt projects on Highway 49 over the last couple years. I think our maintenance department did some work out there, and just towards the end of last year, a construction company did some work closer toward Paragould, between Paragould and Brooklyn. But we've got another project slated to do some mill and inlay work on some of Highway 49 out there. So a lot of projects in various locations throughout Jonesboro.
And Jonesboro is very thankful because we're growing. We've been growing at a pretty significant rate for a long time now, and everything that ArDOT does for Jonesboro makes us a little bit safer, a little bit easier to navigate.
Sure.
So We're
Absolutely.
very grateful. He's Aaron Vowell. He is a resident engineer for the Arkansas Department of Transportation, and he's very kind to visit with us on Let's Talk Jonesboro. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you very much.
All
Thank you
right.
for having me.